started, was that during COVID?
It was during COVID, and that's because me personally, and I felt like there was a need in the community, most of all, because so many small businesses were, as you guys know, were just getting annihilated during COVID.
Yeah.
But what was happening with so many Facebook groups out there, which so many people use, I mean, it's a huge feature on Facebook, and so many, like, especially local communities, is for small businesses. Small businesses are the backbone of our communities, and it feels like everybody's paycheck is usually off a small business too in local communities. So I felt like for myself too, I was advertising, which we got a lot of hate during that time. Just off Google, we would average maybe 5 to 10,000 views a month, like on our page, and we went up to over 1 million for months of views, just on Google because of all the hate from Facebook going on and everything else. But what was happening was I was posting on Facebook groups myself for our business, and I was getting blocked or banned from Facebook groups because of rules and violations and all this stuff, and 6-foot rule and all that stuff. And people just were getting really like butthurt about it. So, long story short, I said, hey, we need to create something for our local businesses in the area, and just like a network thing for companies to come together and people to come together, and we can learn from one another and just kind of bring a positive spin and thing, and just free speech. I'm a big fan of free speech right now too, with everything going on. So we started that, but it really didn't take off. And here's where I say this to everybody, and I hope people copy me. I do, because I want a bigger and more powerful impact out there, and I hope people follow. So, and I'm always learning. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just learning as we go and researching. And I failed high school, and I always say I have a master's degree in YouTube and Google. I research everything. So, but long story short, again, I know I keep saying that. I ramble. Cut me off, guys. Cut me off, okay?
We might know.
We ramble too.
We know about that.
I'm a girl. Look at I paint my nails, for Christ's sake.
I love these nails.
Both you have yours done.
I know.
I'm so upset about this.
So basically, I do. See, we're off
Is that
topic.
the crackle nail?
Yes.
Girl. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
You better work.
Yeah.
See, I'm not blonde, but I'm like bold and beautiful.
There is a little bit of blonde in there somewhere. That's coming out.
Well, now there's gray coming in.
We'll take
They have
it.
things that help with that.
Right.
That's
All
for
right,
sure.
but going back though was bringing value to the community, and that's what I had to learn. Even with anybody that starts a group or a podcast or YouTube or anything on content creation, is bringing value to people. Otherwise, it will be a dead channel, a dead page, or anything like that. And that's what happened to Walworth County Network at first. I mean, I think we had like 1,000, 2,000 members there, and it was very chit-chatty, like not much though, like nothing, we grab in that, but like, so basically I said, I need to do something more. And that's the thing that I always say for business owners or anybody that really wants to make an impact or level up their life. I'm all about leveling up. It's like a video game, I don't play video games, I play the real life game, So I said, you need to bring value, and that's when the interviews started. And that is when we started, like, shares coming and gossip happening, and everything just kind of blew the F up,
Yep.
So, and now we're like over 13,000 people. We average about 220,000 views a month, and that's all organic. I can't push this with ads on a Facebook group. So that's like, you think of it, 250,000 views a month, organically almost.
It's so helpful though. Hey, I'm looking for a roofer. Who do you
Right,
suggest?
exactly.
Hey, I'm looking for the best fish tray. Hey, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for a seamstress. You know what I mean? And everybody can give their input.
Right.
And they can talk and network,
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that you did do a huge service to small business owners during that time when it was really, really neat when things were shutting down. And so
It was huge.
I agree with that. So
And
that's
it's
so amazing.
And that's what it's about, though.
Right.
And
And I think that it should be about that all the time. We should be helping each other out all the time.
Yeah.
And competition is good.
It is good.
Competition is good for each and every one of us.
Right.
You don't want to get stale. You don't want to get stagnant.
Exactly.
And that's all.
So when did Lake Geneva Party Bus start then?
at the end of 2018.
Oh, okay. So you had this before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So how are things during COVID for you? Completely shut
They-
down, or did you do any?
I was doing funerals because people were dying.
Right.
So, like, no, I don't care. Here's the thing, and I'll say this publicly too. I do not care what your event is, what it's for, if it's for your 4-year-old birthday that you want to
Sure.
spend the money, or if it's for a funeral or anything, as long as your money is green, I do not care.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not picky and choosy, and that's a lot of transportation companies, they won't pick up bachelor parties because they don't want to, like,
Oh, they don't
cops
deal
and, you know,
with
like,
that.
yeah.
The problems.
I say yes to it all, and you have to. You know, like,
Yeah.
I get mentored by numerous people in the community, and, like, I think that's one of the things I always say is find mentors right now, because it really helps you get wisdom and knowledge on how to really grow a company. But I would say, going back to this Walworth County thing, before we move on to other things, I want to just say this too, because I think this is such a good lesson for myself and for others, is business owners need to become business leaders for their communities. And that's where I feel one person, like, without going into politics and all those things in the world, but you can just pick people out there.
Mhm.
And one person, a guy or a gal, and they say, you know what, I'm going to go for it. It's going to hurt my image. It's going to hurt my companies or whatever it is out there. Because once you go public, your opinions are out there. People are going to judge you. But it is better to take a stand and believe in what you're doing and trying to make a difference than being reserved and hiding and wealth whispers.
Kind of lukewarm.
Mm-hmm. And I believe people that have created success for their lives and have done good for themselves should, not like how people go, wealth whispers, John, we need it. No, you should pass that on. You know, you pay it forward. And that's what I feel like with Walworth County Network was, you know, I felt like it was my duty and obligation to this community that whatever it was, whatever was instilled in me, that I'm like, no, you know, I'm going to be more than just for myself here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, people are like, okay, John, it works both ways. You're making money off of this. Not really. Like, I don't make a cent off of anything.
Right.
Like, I have my business. Everything else is freeloaded. Like, people get out of me, if anything. And that's like
Sure.
the thing we're doing now is charity. And like, I don't know if you saw the latest one we did, like the Agape House
Yeah.
in Walworth. And, you know, praise God for what they're doing over there. You know,
Mhm.
like, they're really changing lives. And I feel like they don't have a big voice in that charity.
Right.
You hear all these other charities out here just pounding. And I like said, no, I'm going to take my thing. I'm going to give them a voice and a megaphone for 13,000 local people to
Yep.
hear it.
Yeah.
And it blew the
Yep.
roof off, you
Sure.
know?
Sure.
So, and that's where I just am kind of at with it. And we'll see where it continues to go, too.
It can only go up.
Right.
I mean, it's really been a blessing, and I know we've used it for when we needed a roofer, we needed, you know, other things, and
Right.
okay. So what I want to know is why Lake Geneva Party Bus Company? What made you go into that business?
So, I can't take credit for it. I can,
Your
but I
beautiful
can't.
wife.
No, not even her.
Oh.
So, I won't say the person's name. I never will. But it actually started as a partnership.
Okay.
And this is what the beautiful thing about my wife and I are, is we are yin and yang, really.
Sure.
But we had a person address us saying, hey, there is a need in the area, and you two would do really well with it. Let's go 50-50, but you put up the money.
Mm.
Oh, I see.
So, Becca and I were kids. I mean, I was in mid-20s and that, and all we had was a house. No savings. We lived paycheck to paycheck like other people,
Sure.
you know? And we leveraged that house. I mean, you might have heard if you follow me on Facebook and that I share that story a lot because I say, use what you got, man.
Mm-hmm.
Use whatever you have. Like, and that's the thing. People are like, oh, I don't have money. I don't have this and that. It's like you always have something. And if nothing, you have your time and your energy.
Yeah.
And that I'm still working 70 to 90 hours a week. And
Yeah.
like some people are like, oh, you made it or successful. And like that's what I say. It's like, no, it never stops.
Right.
You know, like you're on it. So we leveraged our house and took equity out because we were remodeling and everything. And we went and I went down to Florida to buy a party bus. And when I got down there, the thing had a check engine light and a bunch of issues. And I've done this a dozen times now with
Yeah.
vehicles. They always have issues in that because I never buy new, because even with new ones, yes, you can say a warranty, but things are always going to break on these types of vehicles, even with good maintenance
Sure.
records. You know, you're just that's the belly of the beast with it, you know?
Yep.
So we leveraged our house to get this bus, and then the partnership kind of fell because he didn't have anything. We put up all the money. He said he had wisdom and knowledge in this sector. And yeah.
Something smells fishy
Interesting.
here.
Yeah, right.
And I'm one of those people. I've had 2 failed businesses with other partners in the past.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm like on the
Are you
side.
squeaking?
You are,
Yeah.
you're
kinda
squeaking over
squeaking
there
over
with
Yeah,
the chair.
yeah, squeaker. squeaking in, squeaking in. But I learned my lesson. I said, hey, I need a contract from you because I've learned my lesson from the past with partnerships. And I said, we need a good contract. It's like 6 weeks going on. We have $37,000 into this thing, right? And he just did, basically.
Oh,
So,
oh.
never fear, though. Because you know what? Like, we said, well, first we actually went to Cunis.
Right.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, right?
We love
So,
Cunis.
we went to Cunis and we paid like 37 grand for this, and I don't want to insult it, but like they offered us like 13,000 for it.
Oh,
ouch.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Oh.
yikes.
yeah, and I'm like, screw that. So we went back to the table, like, okay, how do we do this? Because like before I owned gyms, like that's what I did. I was
Sure.
into fitness. I know the fitness realm. I could start a gym in Walworth County and probably have 600 members in a month. I could.
Sure.
I would.
Yeah.
But this, I had no clue. There's so many regulations. There's so many things with like just the state and rules, and like without going into too much with it, but just a lot to learn. And we didn't even do our research with insurance. You know, insurance.
I can't even imagine.
Tens and tens of thousands of dollars a year just in insurance.
Yikes.
Yeah.
People don't get that, and that's what the community doesn't get too. They're like, why are you so expensive than Joe Schmo down the street that has a shuttle
Because
bus
Joe
with...
Schmo doesn't give a beep.
Yup, and he's under the radar with no stickers on his vehicles and blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
we are like the legit company in the area besides, I would say, Jones Transportation, but they do coach buses and trolleys.
Right.
We're more in the limousine luxury sector. So, yeah, we went back and that was really hard because we were paying the insurance, we were paying all this stuff, and we didn't make our first sale until 9 months later.
Oh, boy. Wow.
And we were working regular jobs. I'll tell it, like Becca was working at Target and going to school.
Okay.
So she was working part-time at Target, going to school. I was working full-time, trying to get into management with Walmart too, taking tests. I was failing them because I suck at tests, you know, but ask me the question and I know, like it's just,
I hate tests.
So do I. It's just like it just gets
Anxiety.
It is.
Right away.
It's like you know it, but then
Right.
you're timed. I don't know. Anyway, so
Yep.
go ahead.
for me it's like the words though, like I get confused on reading it and it just doesn't
Sure.
like the wiring in my brain doesn't comprehend. Like if you ask me like, hey John, here's blah 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 blah, what's the answer? I'm like, hey, it's this.
Right.
And, but like you're in a room by
But to
yourself
sit
and like
down
and it's like
actually read it,
and then multiple, it's like, oh, A,
Always
B,
pick
C.
C.
And I said, oh my God, you said we're best friends.
It's always C.
I always say pick C. I do.
I don't know
I'm like
what it
C.
is, everything's C.
C.
I've never known that.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe
really?
that's what's wrong with me. I need C.
Always pick C if you
Always
don't know
pick
what to
C
do.
in the
Always
multiple
pick
choice.
C.
Yeah.
And I
It's a
love
thing.
multiple choice. Anyway.
But yeah, so we were figuring it out, and I mean, we basically gave the thing away for services to just, you know, fake it till you make it kind of thing, take pictures, and just grew it and grew it. And then it finally just, I don't know, we just evolved.
Mhm.
You know, we evolved. Not that it was anything that, like, people like, what was the defining moment, guys? Like, or what was the hit? It's just this, like, we just became better at the craft. And we learned and we adapted, and it just kind of slowly built. There was nothing like a flush of cash or a big aha moment with a
Sure.
big contract with Grand Geneva or anything like that. Like, Grand Geneva and a lot of the resorts won't take you till year 3 with proof of insurance. So 3 years of insurance, and you have to give them a certificate to
Okay.
even get into the resorts. Now we're way past that.
Sure.
But like, so resorts wouldn't take us on, nothing. So like, it really was just hit and miss kind of
You
thing.
have to, grind.
Yep.
You know, just get out there and do your thing.
But it was funny though. So that was in 18. Then at the end of 19, I wheeled and dealed another party bus. So then we had 2 going into COVID. Basically, before COVID, we bought a 3rd. During COVID, we bought a 4th, then a 5th. Like, it just kept going. So, but COVID actually was a blessing for us because I feel like we were growing,
Sure.
but I'll use M&M Limousine. I mean, I don't even care. M&M Limousine before 2020 was the 25th largest private held limousine transportation company in the nation. And they're in Chicago. But they come up here. They're huge.
Sure.
They had 167 vehicles in their fleet. I mean, I don't even want to know what the bills are to maintain just
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And storage and where.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they were on Chicago.
Anyway.
Brakes.
It breaks.
Oh, and
No
Brakes,
brakes.
yeah.
We go through
Gosh.
brakes like anything else. Like over anything else, brakes is the number
Brakes.
thing. Stopping and going, stopping and
Yeah,
going,
sure.
stopping and going.
Yeah.
With loads of people, you know?
Yeah.
Guess you need those.
Yeah.
You haven't discovered discovered yours yet?
No.
I know, I've ridden with
I'm just
you.
coasting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But they got cut in, I think they have like 40 vehicles right now. So like that's what like the transportation, these huge companies just got slashed, you know? And Becca and I were kind of on the upcoming with it. And we actually just started inheriting deals, you know? And like people were just falling left and right. And I just started, like I said, like kind of Walpole County Network helped too. And everything else, it kind of gave me like a platform that I could just be a megaphone for ourselves, but for so many others as well,
Right.
that it really just helped in 2020. I hate to say it, but it really made us.
I was just going to say, you know what? There's some industries that COVID did probably help in any funeral homes, for one.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's grocery stores,
Yep.
you know, and so while it hurt so many others did thrive in that period because you were needed.
And I think it's just about like adaptation too, like, or
Sure.
a lot of times, like I mean, I'm young. I'm in my 30s, and like a lot of people, I'm going up. I'm just saying it for my industry, not other industries, but my industry, the average owner is between 60 and 75. I'm dealing with a lot of older men,
Yeah.
and I'm not even the CEO. My wife's the CEO.
Oh, yeah, she is.
So Becca actually is the CEO. That's
Why
her
isn't she here
title.
today?
I know, right?
She's doing work stuff right now too.
And she's busy.
Next time.
But Becca is the CEO. I'm just like the face and like the guy, like you know what I am.
Yeah.
I'm out there, you
You're
know.
out there, and she's the one that's doing the behind the scenes and crunching numbers maybe and doing all the paperwork.
She runs the operation.
Yeah.
I'm basically
Yep.
sales, marketing, hiring, you know, all that stuff.
Sure,
Like
a
you know,
good
like
partnership for you too, that you
yep.
have.
I do everything on the bus side too. So like any mechanical stuff, I deal with the mechanics and all that stuff. Like I'm running around for parts always to Chicago.
You always have to go for parts, right?
Well,
I mean, that's kind of like a farmer though too. You're always running for parts.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Jeez.
seriously.
Can't even imagine.
well, I chose the wrong vehicle. Let's just say that Mercedes Sprinter because Jeff Bozo more.
Uh-oh.
But he bought 3 years of all the Sprinters on the line coming out, and then they
Yeah.
bought the parts market behind it. So I have to like go to major cities to get parts, you know. And so otherwise, like I can't turn it fast enough with our like I have to go. It's like otherwise, hey John, you're gonna have to wait till like next week Thursday. And I'm like, no, I need this thing like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like so,
Yeah.
I'm always running around.
Yeah.
So things are good, and things are on the up and up.
Yeah.
But things weren't always so good.
No, you know what? I am learning, and that's what I say. I gotta remain humble too. I always have to remind myself, even speaking publicly, because sometimes people are like, "Oh, what a douchebag."
Be like
You know,
J-Lo.
something-
Remember where you came from.
Exactly,
You know?
and I try to do that, and that's why I have so many tattoos going on right now too, because it is a reminder of where I came from, and a lot of people publicly. I mean, yeah, I grew up in the area, but like the mass public, I really feel like only people know who I am in the last 2 years. So that's like,
That kind of makes sense though. I mean,
yeah.
now that you say that. Yeah.
And it's like, I always use the line with Spider-Man with Uncle Ben, where he's like, with great power comes a greater responsibility.
Yep.
And I always like using that, and I refer to that, not to be a geek with more with all that, but it's so true. It's like be careful what you wish for too, and you have to be evolving into the person that you want to become.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes years. Like I'm only in my 30s, and I started like way in my early 20s with business, you know, and I failed all this business, and all you have to do is keep rolling the dice. Eventually, you'll make it work, you know.
Exactly. If
Right.
you don't fail, you're not going anywhere.
And you have to keep trying. You
Yeah.
have to. And that's how you learn.
And to
And
whom
evolve.
much is given, much is expected, too.
Mhm.
You know?
Right.
Kind of going back to what you were saying before.
And it's all a balance too, because now it's like everybody like, I mean, I just had a guy 3 days ago asking me for $12,000 because he's like, you're doing well, you know. So it comes into different, you know, like, hey, you're doing pretty good. I see it. I need $12,000. I'm in trouble. I'll pay you back. And I'm like, if the banks aren't giving you money, I'm pretty sure I'm not
Yeah.
getting my money back.
They
Yeah.
don't know. People don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
No, they
You
don't.
know what I mean? They see that
Exactly.
you're out there, you are positive, you're encouraging, and well, then you must be doing well.
Right.
You know? But they don't know what's happening. behind the
Exactly. You
scenes.
very well could be doing well.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you also
But
don't
you
know.
also
Are they
have-
still living paycheck to paycheck because they have 4 vehicles that are in the
It's-
shop, or you don't know?
You don't
So
know. Exactly.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us how things evolved.
I think you want to go earlier.
Well, I want to
We
go.
do.
I want to talk about mental health because
Yes.
you were saying mental health.
May is mental health
Like
awareness
awareness?
month.
Okay.
And so it's a good thing to tie in with kind of your past.
Your story.
And you have had it out there before, so we're not asking anything that.
Yeah.
No, I love sharing it because, and I think more people should.
And I'm
And that-
hoping that this will help, or is able to help somebody out.
Well, 1 in 5 Americans, only America, and I can say this once I say this. So 1 in 5 Americans have mental illness, is what they say. And I think that is because the pressure that our America, society, puts on people with social media, with these people, these teenagers now even, like think of kids, we're talking kids now that are so depressed in school and they're already on so many meds because of anxiety and all this like crazy stuff. And I think it's because of what is being put on these stupid little phones we have.
Yep.
And I think it is
you
killing.
have to look like this. You have to be like this. You have to be this smart. You have to
And not only that,
wear this.
if you not only do you have access, but your friends, your enemies will have access too. And when I was in school, you could shut that off. You could go to school at the end of the day on Friday,
Yeah.
go home,
and nobody knew
and
what happened.
I'm not being bullied on the weekend. You know what I mean? The Monday it started off, but now it's a continuous cycle.
Yep.
Yeah.
With social media, it's
It
very
is.
sad.
And a lot of people, I will say this, people are consumers, and you need to become a producer with it. Like, social media is just a tool for me. I'm not scrolling and going through all that. Like, I use it literally for a tool, just like money. I don't spend money. I literally invest money always. I go broke every year. Like, I do. My goal is to go to zero every single year. People will disagree with that, but that's my philosophy and why we have catapulted. Is like, I'm all in. And you know what? It's all good. The bank knows what I have.
I also
You know?
feel-
Yeah.
I also feel too to go to zero because I have Amazon bills, and Bill right now is like, "You suck."
But I think that's the thing, though, is like we're so many consumers now, and like with this generation, it's like there's so much pressure on people.
Yes.
And but yeah, but going towards my past is way earlier. Is I gotta be careful what I say too. So sorry about that.
Nope.
That's
That's
okay.
okay.
Hold your thoughts
That's
and-
okay.
So for me as a kid too, because it always what has happened to you guys, and I don't even know you guys really, but what happened in your childhood does go to your adulthood still.
Oh,
And that like what has been said over you or done to you as a child.
I'm that fat kid.
100%.
Hey, don't worry, I am too. Look at this.
But I could go back to 8 years old and getting a letter from somebody. Oh yeah, I'll always be thick. I'll always be a little bit thicker. But I think things turned out okay. You know what I mean? But oh yeah, that is always with you.
It always sticks
You'll
with
always be the chunky kid. You always, you know what I mean?
you. It's
Mhm.
always come back to
But
your
it's
mind.
always. Yep.
What's up? And it's some of the weirdest
Yeah.
moments, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, like it's crazy because like it can affect you.
Oh yeah.
And I still struggle with it. I'm not gonna lie. I think mental illness and mental health and all that stuff, if you don't stay on top of it, it will eat you alive. And you actually have to have a plan in your habits and rituals that you do every day. Like I wake up at 4:30 a.m. to like every day to actually meditate, pray, write in my gratitude journal, set out my
So
day.
That's
good.
Dude,
Yeah.
like so now I'm getting really
And then if you
personal.
don't do
Journal
it,
is so
if-
good. Journaling is amazing.
It is.
for
And
you.
then if you don't do it, it's like you're missing out. It's
Mhm.
become a part of you.
Well, yeah, it's what you do.
Right. Yeah.
And like I'm even getting more personal is like I've been trying to go on my hands and knees when I do this.
Mhm.
Because being on your hands and knees is the most humble state
Yep.
a person could be on.
Yep.
And that's where, because I do have issues in that, we all do, but I try to bring myself to the lowest possible person, like, John, and I get on my hands and knees and I do that. And, but going into my past, yeah, I had a rough childhood. I was labeled, I guess, in today's terms would be special needs, but back then you were the R word. I can't really say that, like,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
that's what they called you back then. There
Sure.
wasn't a word for it. There was no special needs classes for you.
Sure.
You were just the odd one out. So
Yep.
school was really hard, and that came with low self-esteem, anger issues, all this stuff, like why me kind of thing, even to God,
Mhm.
And it just was really hard. And I'm just sharing. I know I'm being personal, but
You're being real.
yeah, well, that's why
And that's
I think,
okay.
and I think that's why a lot of people like, because like I will share, because you
Yeah.
know what, the best thing for anybody to be is, one, to be yourself,
Yep.
and two, like just be like authenticity.
Authentically
You, yeah.
Be you and own you.
And you don't know who you could be helping by telling this story. Everybody's got something.
Hmm.
So,
And I like sharing it because like people like, I guess like, you know, people, I guess for me now it's too, it's like people only know me in the last 2 years, and I try to share that. It's like, no, there's a story here.
sure.
You know, so like,
There's a lot of layers.
yeah.
To go back.
So, but ultimately with going that, so like, I was kind of dumb, basically, call it, and then I was poor too, so I didn't have friends because like you can't like, oh, now you're the poor
you're the-
dumb kid, not even the
Right.
rich dumb kid.
Right.
Especially if you know Walworth County Network with the lake and just
Yep.
there's a lot of
It's-
wealth,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
and families.
Yep.
So, so it was hard, but I learned, I adapt, you know, through life, you cope through it, but it still stayed with me into my teens. I ultimately failed high school. I did get a GED because my mom pushed it with, you know, school and all that, which is so funny with the school system. I love sharing this. So it was my sophomore year, and I was a straight F student, basically.
Okay.
Like, you know, and they only let me play football because they needed me.
Sports.
Yeah, you know, sports, you know.
Yeah,
Ah, we need him on there. Who cares if he
Right,
fails?
right.
So
Just
I still played
pass him.
football.
Yeah.
Right.
But where was I?
Your mom and the GED.
Oh yeah, I got a GED, and it's funny with the school system because they keep you in school for so long, but you really don't need all those credits. Because I went to the alternative high school in Gateway here,
Okay.
and I literally graduated like at 16 and a half.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah, because so I went in there and this is just my experience. Maybe it's changed, I don't know. But I went in there, they said I had enough credits. John, you have to take a 3-month English class, a 3-month math class, and you're done. You can have your
That's
GED.
it.
And I was done.
Huh.
So I became a young adult very
Yes,
fast.
you
Very
did.
quick. Yeah.
So, and that's where like my journey started though. I was in, before I got into this Christian organization, which is YWAM, which is Youth with a Mission. At the time, it was like the largest missionary organization in the world.
Yeah.
But at 17, I went up to Alaska. So I've been to, I know I'm all over the place, but I've been to 13 countries in 48 states.
Dang.
So I've traveled a lot. I've seen a lot of the world. I've been in red light districts helping women. I've been in orphanages helping children. Like I've seen a lot of heartbreak, and that was the best thing for John.
Yeah.
Like I say that. It truly was because I was so worried about myself, and that's the great thing. It's like when you start putting, you know, start helping others with their problems, it does something internally.
Not
Yes,
just
it does.
about you.
Mm-hmm. And that's like we're going back to the servitude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, business owners need to become business leaders. Get it off yourself. You know, like help others.
Right.
And that's like where I just feel like leadership is servitude. And that's where like I'm trying to get better. Like I'm just speaking freely. Like this is what I'm just going what actually plays in my head.
Yeah.
So people can say I'm crazy or whatever, but this is like how I think in my head. And it's like I need to become better, not just for myself, but for others too. And everything because I know I can reach a higher level and reach my full potential.
Yeah.
You know?
Very
not,
positive.
And not only others, your son as well. Right? You know, I mean, like your family.
Yeah.
You know, you're setting a good example right now. You know, for your own family.
Yeah.
And I feel like that there's a lot of families that do get that. you
Right.
know, So
Right.
Yeah.
That positivity and that strength and that this is what we need to do every day, whether you want to or not, whether you want to get out of bed at 4:30, whether you know what I mean. And the mental health thing too. It's what you tell yourself up here. I remember times too when you tell yourself something negative, things are going to go in a different way that day. You start off like, this is going to be a great day. I get up pretty early too because I take care of Sylvia, our friend, their kids. And there's sometimes when you get up and it's just like, oh, this and this and this and this to do. But it's like, I get up and I'm like, it's going to be a great day. Things are different. Shit still could happen.
Mhm.
And still does. But it's that mental, it's what we tell ourselves.
It's
have
mindset.
to,
it's
we
the
have
space
to tell
that
our,
you put yourself.
yeah, tell yourself the truth,
Right.
not lies. You know what I mean?
I love that.
And that
And it's true.
It's tell yourself the truth. It's just going to be a great day. You know.
I always
Just
like
start out
that.
like that.
Have you guys watched the movie Wolf of Wall Street before?
No.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah,
like the
I have.
one line and that he's like, how does it go? It's the thing that stops you from getting what you want or something like that is the bullshit story you keep telling yourself on why you can't. And it's true. It's like you tell yourself these stories on why,
Yeah.
the excuses and
Yeah.
all these things of why I can't do it. Oh, the government, the school system robbed me because now I'm in debt. My parents beat me. I did it. All this, and it's like you just go into a million things on why you
Right.
can't do it.
You're your own worst enemy.
You
Mhm.
are. That's who you become. And so you have to have your mindset the right way in order to be a good leader, to be good for other people, and
Yep.
for yourself, for your soul.
And I always say too, people need to stop playing victim and start being a victor.
Yeah.
You know, you need to start putting some wins on the board because one, it builds confidence, and you'll start moving forward in the right direction.
It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter if you failed. It doesn't matter if you were abused. I'm not putting that off the table like, oh, well, that sucks. And I'm
Mhm.
not, you can overcome that. And you can go further. And we're going to have Sylvia on in a couple weeks. We've had her on before. She's overcome abuse, addiction. It's just like, it doesn't matter. Don't keep falling into
Those same
the
patterns.
same,
Learn from your experiences of
Yes.
who, and maybe what, and for myself, how I was attracted to certain people that were abusive to me.
sure.
What is
'Cause
going,
it's familiar.
what's going on with that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And so to pull yourself out of that and to work on yourself first, and I think that's very important before you can open business.
Yep.
And I always use that with dating with girls. Notice how the girl, like, they just saying, like, they pick the asshole.
Yeah.
And you notice the
Yeah.
next one's an asshole?
Yeah.
And the next one, it's because what you are familiar with is what you will always keep getting. You have to
Yeah.
actually change and stop and think,
Mhm.
why do I keep making the same mistake or choosing the same guy over and
Right,
over again?
right.
You know?
Yeah. It's
So-
very true.
Look at us, just solving problems, kicking booty.
No, right? I
But
know.
going back to it, you were suicidal.
Yes, so lots of times in my teens, I tried to strangle myself with a belt. I don't know how graphic you guys want me. I've done many different things, but the one that changed, and like, I don't know, like, obviously we don't have cameras. I have cameras here, but like, I have tattoos, and all my tattoos actually have meaning. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad that I actually didn't start getting tattooed till I think I was 30.
Yeah.
Because like then I don't have any regrets because you mature and it's like
Yeah.
I'm like, what would stupid John do when he was drunk to get tattooed?
Right. Why did I need that dolphin on my butt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you?
What?
I haven't heard about that one, but yeah, exactly.
So I do have a semicolon. I do have self-love with a death face in the O, because in 2015, going 16, I had two businesses. I got screwed by my partners, divorced, and sued all in 8 months.
Oh, jeez.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's a lot. That's heavy.
That's a bit much.
So I don't even know how, and that's the thing, and maybe people can relate to. You don't actually remember all the details, and I think that's because I was traumatized in that, and I actually shut down, and I actually can't even because people are like, oh, tell us about the details, and it's like almost blurred out.
Sure.
And I think that's what happens when you are in really bad situations or stuff. It's like you kind of lose because you numb yourself.
You're in survival.
And what happened ultimately, though, I did lose everything, and I was living. I laugh at it.
Say it?
Are you going to say it? Can I say it? Are
You
you
can.
living in a van down by the river?
Close in a parking garage.
Okay.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, I thought we had Chris Farley here first.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh.
So no, I was living in a van in a parking garage for months, trying to blow off my head.
Oh.
And I think what was I, 24? I think I was 24. No family, hardly any friends. Everybody leaves you, kind of thing, and shit goes down.
Yeah.
And one thing I gotta say, I gotta shout out to Mama. Mama, I love you. You know, she was
Our
there.
mom's the best.
Moms are the best, and I gotta say that my mom, she's always been there. No matter where I am in the world, I always can call her. Even back in the day when it was Skype,
Yeah.
and I'm in different countries, and it's like 1 a.m. in the morning for her, and it's midday for me, and like Mama was always there.
Always.
She's never stopped worrying about you.
Right.
Nope.
It doesn't
From
stop at
experience,
18.
It does not
Yeah.
stop
Nope.
at all.
No.
So,
But I went and I luckily survived that. And I'm so grateful. I just said this to Becca because I just got this piece done yesterday, actually. Actually, both pieces and that. But I said, man, if I did it, I would have never met the love of my life. I would have never built a 7-figure empire.
Yeah.
You know, I would have never helped other people. I would have never done any of this.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And I say this, and people can be offended too or whatever, but I just speak from the heart and shoot from the hip too. Is suicide is the most selfish thing you can do. And honestly, it doesn't solve the issue. And that once you're gone, you're gone. You can't
Right.
fix that. And like honestly, you're doing more harm with the people you leave behind you,
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say that.
and doing everything else. And like, just if anything else, if you are listening to this and you are struggling, just look at me.
Yeah.
I know I'm not saying, look at me now,
I know
but
what you're
like,
saying.
look what I've done and accomplished in a short amount of time because I got my mindset, my attitude, and I got rituals and habits in place and a plan. You have to have a plan for your life. Write it down. Stick to it. You have to. And you can do it. Trust me.
Yep.
I feel like crying because it's true.
Oh, I
and it's
know.
beautiful
It
because you know
is.
what? You have a beautiful life. You
It's
do.
there.
And you have a lot to offer and to give this world.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. You would never have met Becca. You would never have had your son. You would never your business, the friends that you're meeting
Connections.
through Walworth County, the Facebook page, your bus company. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like
Oh,
that in
absolutely.
our lives too. Your past marriages, you never would have met there. If I would have lost my first job in radio, I never would have met Bill.
Right.
I never would have met you. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do.
What
you
was
think
it?
those doors are closed and you think that there's nothing to open to walk through, but
Yeah.
there is. You would have to keep that in mind.
Failing is actually, if you're not failing, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
You know? So,
Right. If you are having any issues, you can the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 988 that and reach out. You can reach out to anybody in your life.
definitely. Any of
Please
us,
do.
yeah. We're here.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Ooh.
So what's going on in your mind right now?
I think I want to say
You know?
too, though. So people are like, well, how do you solve that, John? How do you get
That's what I was
that's
going to ask you.
like how okay, that's cool. Let's call the hotline, or hey, oh, I talked to a friend, but that doesn't make me feel better. That doesn't solve the issue that I'm in that I keep going back to, too. And so what changed was that great thing. So I went home. My dad's a hard Jewish man, to give reference. Told me you got 1 year to get your shit in order. No sex, no drugs, no alcohol. And you show me your pay stub every time and your bank account at the end of the month because you're not living here for free.
Yeah.
So I had 1 year. It actually ended short because of a fight. Love you, Dad. I'm actually glad. Here's the thing. Shout out to all the fathers that are hard on their children. And I think for men specifically, men need to be hard on their sons. And I am extremely hard on my son.
You can still be loving,
Mm-hmm.
but
It is their duty and job to get that boy into a man. And right now we have too many boys running in around society.
acting like fools.
Mm-hmm. And because they didn't have men in their life.
Yep.
So I gotta say, my dad, yes, some would say abuse or an asshole, but you know what? My dad prepared me for the real world.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be where I am without that man, So, but I was home, I was working my ass off, and I was reading a book a week. I didn't read, actually, I lied. Audio. So, audio book a week.
Yeah.
So I was doing a book a week, and I still do. I'm always, and here's the fun thing about education. I don't think I failed because I have a learning disability or anything. I failed because it didn't interest me.
Sure. Yep.
I now am learning, and I'm in books, and I'm studying all hours of the day and night on stuff. I honestly think a lot of my time, too, is just researching and learning and applying it to my businesses and stuff like that to become better and bigger. And that's like the thing that I learned was and that's where I said, write up a plan. Like, where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years? I want to write a movie for myself that I sit back and watch and be like, holy shit.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
who are you?
Yeah.
And I can even say that now. It's like, this last year I promised my wife, so here was our agreement with this business. I said, sacrifice with me. Success does not come with sacrifice. I said, sell your dream with me. and we can build an ultimate life. And what she said, and this is fun, what she said, give me a farm and you have a deal.
Ooh.
Oh, I like her.
Because
Right?
Becca always wanted a farm because she was raised on a farm, you know, without telling her story and her life and all that. But yeah, she was raised on a farm. She wanted a farm of her own. But as you guys know, farms are a lot of money
Oh,
Yes.
and that. So I said, deal, 5 years and that. And we bought it last year. So we bought that farm. We turned it into Schnabel Estates. I love it. I never wanted to live on a farm, but I actually love it.
Yeah.
It's such a
We-
sanctuary, isn't it? When you get, it's like
Oh
you're
my God.
alone, so when you pull into it, yeah.
Neighbors are
I
a
get
quarter
it.
mile apart
Yep,
from me.
Yeah,
We
it's
have-
so nice.
How many animals?
None.
What are we gonna do about this?
Okay,
Because I feel
so right-
Wrong
so-
answer.
Oh, this is bad. This is bad. You know what? We gotta wrap up right
Yeah,
now.
yep.
Okay.
It was
see
nice
ya.
having you,
Nice
John.
having
Yep. No worries. See you next time. No, it's same with toys. You know, like people like, you know, like when you build and that people get boats, they get motorcycles, muscle cars, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. You know, you see people
Yeah,
buying
then you
things.
want to splurge.
Or-
yeah,
Yeah.
have some
For
fun.
or go with animals too.
Mhm.
Animals cost time, money, and all that. Becca and I, here's the funny thing is, like this year we're actually building a 2,000 square foot commercial gym on our property.
Oh.
Not for anybody else, by the way. Like it's not for the public.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
just for you guys.
Just for Becca
That's-
and I.
And for us.
That's your release. That's what you like to do.
Yeah.
So, well, it
That's
actually
awesome.
came up because of Anytime Fitness, and we went all the way up to the corporate because the franchising owner didn't want to fix problems. We couldn't get access into the thing, and I said, well, not to be that guy, but you know what? I'm just going to build my own commercial gym, and we started getting, you know, we went down to a warehouse and started picking up commercial gym equipment in a box truck and just
Oh,
hauling
wow.
it.
Yeah.
So, like, we're building an actual commercial gym. So, but that's the thing. So, like, with animals, toys, and all that, and this is where, like, things start getting, like, well, two things. I gotta say this. Do whatever makes you happy. You know, when you do have, like, the luxuries or whatever time, basically, and the resources, do what, if it is getting a boat to see your other friends who have boats, do that, if that makes you happy. The thing is with Becca and I, though, that we realized, I always try to just speak personally for me, is I do not need more shit to break. You know,
Right.
I have
understand that.
Yeah.
a dozen vehicles that are always working. Not that they're bad, it's just that's the name of the game of the business. When you have a fleet of
I hear ya.
vehicles, one of them has an issue that day.
Yeah.
You know, so like, and that's where Becca's like, so we basically, if we're going to do anything, we're going to rent the boat for the day, rent the ATV, rent, you know,
And
whatever.
And that's what you have all
Yeah.
the fun, but none of the
Exactly.
Yeah.
hassle.
Right.
So-
Yeah, go with your friends.
So
and have
rent
that boat.
rent the goats and rent the llamas
Well, then,
and the bunnies.
well, then you have vet bills and all that stuff. It's like, so
No,
basically,
not if you're renting
That's if
them.
you're renting
Just,
them.
like, yeah.
You know some people.
Just go to the zoo.
Sandy.
You know what? Just go to the zoo.
Yeah, right?
You're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But,
Can you
oh,
tell I
boy.
want a little farmette?
Yeah, I want a little farmette too. Someday we'll be one.
I can say this only from experience. You will always have something breaking on that farm.
Of course you do.
Another 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Our garage door just broke. That was 4,500. You know, like
But that's just home
something
ownership.
You
It's
know.
just on a larger scale.
larger. You have
You know what I mean?
we have 11,000 square feet of outbuilding space. You know, like so, like there's a lot to maintain.
Yes, there
It
is.
almost becomes a job to just. Otherwise, as you know, and people know this, and I don't care. Go down any country road. You will see most farms are really run down.
Oh yeah, because it takes
So
it
nice.
does.
Mhm.
I know.
Anything
Like,
worth
fun.
having,
Mhm.
kids, animals,
You
toys,
have to
stuff like that.
sacrifice if that's
Yep.
that's what you want in life. You
Yep.
have to sacrifice and get it and
Yep.
build your
Anything
own
that's
empire.
worth having is messy,
Yeah,
but it's awesome
Yeah,
at the same time,
for sure.
and it's worth.
it all comes with the cost.
Yeah.
And that's what I say is like, I don't love what I do. And I'll say that to people. If either people are like, well, man, I'm going to start a transportation business. Well, you won't sleep. You'll be cleaning puke up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
sorry
like,
about that for
You'll
you
get
guys.
Oh.
you'll get cops coming in all the time because somebody was too drunk and that. And like, you never sleep with this type of business.
Sure.
So it is basically a lifestyle. And I think a lot of business owners can relate to this too. Like whatever you do when you make it, you know, it just becomes who you are and it's your lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, and like people don't get that. They think it's like, oh, you're high on. No, you're basically making money in one area to be miserable. At least for me. Maybe people say, well, you're doing it wrong, John. But you know, but like you're miserable in one area to make the money, but you can compromise it with buying everything to make your life better and happier. You know, like my biggest thing is not all the shit. Actually, it's getting freedom. Like
Absolutely.
that's the part of the gym. I do not want to answer to a corporate person saying, "Hey, sorry, you can't work out." Oh, well, now my head's screwed with the day
Right,
because I need that release. Or, "Hey, sorry, the plumbing," or, "Hey, the key fob's not working," or any of that. It's like I'm trying to eliminate that. I am the master of my universe. Like the next thing would be like not a Lamborghini. No, I would want to get a plane next because
Ooh.
like no, like that's how I'm thinking. It's like no,
Yeah.
not no, because a plane gives me more freedom than a Lamborghini would. Like a Lamborghini, I'm still stuck in traffic.
Right.
I need to be in the air on the time that I want to be on, and that's like where you start. People think I'm sort of crazy, and like it's like, dude, I even broke it down to the gym.
Dream big.
Well,
That's
it's
right.
it's also about how you use your time on this planet.
Yeah.
You only get one life and one life alone.
Yeah.
So like what you do on this planet is so key. Like to what once you a minute just went by. Say, you cannot get this minute back. You know, and that's where I'm saying like what matters the most to you in this life, because guess what, if you are not living to your full potential, you are wasting what people would die for when they're 70, another minute, because they do have regrets.
Right.
I've seen several people die, they had more regrets than gratitude or anything else in their life, and they wish they did it. And that's where I say, that's why I have tattooed Dyson, that life is a game of chance. If nothing else, you were the same person if you failed.
Yep.
At least fucking, oh, sorry.
Nope,
At
that's
least,
okay.
at least roll the dice, and you can obtain so much
Yeah.
in your life if it works out. And if not, you learn, because you know what? You can lose a million, gain
Yeah.
a million, lose a million. But the one thing that remains is the wisdom and knowledge you obtain throughout the seasons of your life.
Have you ever seen that meme that floats around Facebook periodically? It was Oprah, Michael Jordan, who did the iPhone?
Steve Jobs.
See, yes, he's passed. It was him. A whole bunch of amazing people that have made it,
Mhm.
in quotes. They all failed at everything. What was it? Somebody at Oprah's first job was like, "Yeah, you'll never be." I think she was a journalist or something. She'll never amount to anything, basically. And she had the
And
biggest
she
talk
had her
show.
own network.
I mean, and she's a billionaire.
Absolutely,
Like,
yes.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So failing is okay,
It is
and it's
okay.
needed.
But you need to get back up
But right.
and try again.
Yes.
And do it differently, but learn from the failure.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with it. You can fail hundreds or thousands of times, but you actually only need one or two or three times in your whole life to actually make it really big.
Yeah.
You actually, it's almost like hitting lightning. It's just being at the right time, but you're gaining all that, so you're gaining all this wisdom and knowledge, and you're learning and you're growing, you're networking with more people because you started this business or that business, or you networked with this charity or that, and it all ties in together when you're working into a community, and eventually you're going to be at the right time with knowing the right people, the right resources, the right bankers, and all this, and you're going to pull that trigger, and guess what? It's boom,
Yep.
you're in business, baby. You know, like, and it is just, you just can't give up. You only need to hit it once or twice to do it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Amen.
Woo!
You know, we try to end our Golden Blonde podcast, every single one, with positivity, and
Yeah.
I feel like this whole
The whole show,
our whole
baby.
podcast has been a positive,
Oh, yeah.
uplifting words of wisdom to go out and have a good life.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Live authentically you.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
True.
Go
So-
out there and fail.
So like this last year or this year for 2023, one of my goals was to create content. Like I'm talking like starting a YouTube channel and all that, because like I'm like, I want to be out there more, right? And that's so like I started YouTube, I started Twitter, I started all the things that I wasn't even on. I'm just really on Facebook, and now I'm going out because I'm like, you know what? More people need to know. More people need to be reached. More things, and that's what this is even for.
Yeah.
This is just a platform for people to speak, to share, to help others, and more people need to do that.
Yep.
And I appreciate you guys having me on for it.
Oh,
We
for
appreciate you
sure.
coming in.
Yeah, and we'd love to have you again down the road if you'd love
If
to come
Sylvia's coming, put me on with Sylvia, and we'll
In a
have
couple weeks.
2 weeks.
a good time.
Mhm.
We just had sushi at that new place in Kenosha.
I want to go there, Sushi Bay.
Sushi Bay, and we went there. So
Girl.
basically, it's what is it? What's
It's
the conveyor belt? Yeah.
Of
So,
sushi.
What?
so it's
Oh,
a
yes.
conveyor belt that just it goes in a circle like this, and you get
Mhm.
and they have all the names and everything like that,
Mhm.
and they have it like coated with dots for like prices too and all that.
Sure,
And it
yeah.
goes around and you can get whatever you want. And you know what? Honestly, I love it because I can be in and out of a sushi place within 40 minutes if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's just me eating and
Sure.
whatever. Because normally if you go to sushi, you have to wait 40 minutes just to get your sushi.
Prepared.
Right.
Yeah, to get prepared. So like that is like my go-to now if I want sushi because I can just go in and eat and leave.
Yeah. No more gas
It's
station
a conveyor
sushi.
belt.
It's a
You
conveyor
like,
belt
you
sushi.
sit down and watch it go
Yeah.
by you.
And you
It's
just
like
be
a
like,
buffet, you don't even have to stand up.
I want that. And I want that.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to walk around.
It's in
to around
Kenosha.
the buffet.
We need to go.
It's all good.
I'm like, can one come into Walworth County?
Right?
Yeah, make it happen.
Yeah,
John's
right.
gonna make
Get
that
it out
happen.
there.
All right.
No, I would
Put
be
it
a,
out there in the universe, and it's gonna come back to you, right?
that and a Chick-fil-A.
Oh! How
I've
many times have I
never
said that?
been
Yes.
I have said that so many times because I want her to try it.
Dude, and you know what the crazy thing is? There's a Chick-fil-A literally in like right there in what is it, Pleasant Prairie there.
Mhm.
That there's one in Janesville now.
Janesville.
There's like it's all surrounding us, but Walworth County.
I mean, Delavan, Elkhorn, whatever.
I think
Just
Delavan's
get-
crushing it for like.
Just get the-
Oh my gosh,
With-
they're getting a couple new restaurants too.
I think they're.
So good.
I
And
think.
y'all in and y'all in Elkhorn are gonna get a Starbucks.
Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Taco Bell.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah,
Mm.
all broken grandma. I think all three.
I honestly say if you're a business owner, stay with those cities than Lake Geneva.
Lake
I
Geneva.
love Lake Geneva.
I love Lake
I
Geneva, but
love
it's so
Lake Geneva.
political and it's so restricted on so many things. And
That's sad.
Can't get a Chick-fil-A in Elkhorn or Delavan.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I love it.
Even Racine County, even Burlington.
And there's so much space
Bring
out
it
that
to
way.
Walworth
Yeah,
County.
yeah,
Love
Walworth
it.
County.
I love that. Perfect. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes,
We
thank you.
appreciate you and appreciate everything that you do for the community and Walworth County Network. Absolutely.
Yay.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so positive. Like, I'm pumped.
Oh!
Like, I'm ready.
Oh my God! You're going to the gym.
I'm gonna go home.
That's going to wrap up our edition today for Bold and Blonde. As always, thanks for